5 signs he's genuinely remorseful versus 5 signs he's just sorry he got caught. He says he's sorry. He's crying, he's promising to change, he's telling you he'll do anything to make this right. But here's what you need to know. Remorse and regret are not the same thing. One means he's sorry for what he did to you. The other means he's sorry he got caught. And the difference determines whether this relationship has any chance of surviving or whether you're just delaying the inevitable. By the end of this video, you'll understand the 5 signs of genuine remorse versus the 5 signs of damage control, so you can make an informed decision about whether he's worth a second chance. Genuine remorse, sign 1. He takes full accountability without excuses, justifications, or blame shifting. Let's start with the foundation of genuine remorse, complete ownership. When a man is genuinely remorseful, he owns his behavior completely. No minimizing, no excuses, no blaming circumstances or you for what he chose to do. His apology is unconditional and specific. Here's what this sounds like. I cheated on you. I made that choice. There's no excuse for what I did. Notice the language. He's using I statements that put himself as the active agent of the harm. He's not saying mistakes were made or things happened. He's saying I did this. He's taking direct responsibility. A genuinely remorseful man never uses the word but in his apology. I'm sorry I hurt you, but you were never home is not remorse. The moment you hear but, everything after it is what he actually believes, and it's usually an excuse or justification that transfers blame away from him. His apology should stand alone without qualifiers. And he absolutely does not blame you. He never suggests your behavior caused or justified his betrayal. You drove me to this, or if you had been more affectionate, I wouldn't have cheated, is not remorse. That's blame shifting. Adults are responsible for their own choices. He doesn't try to make his infidelity your fault. Watch if he names the specific harm he caused. He doesn't just say, I'm sorry. He says, I'm sorry I betrayed your trust, lied to you for months, and put your health at risk. This shows understanding of the specific ways his actions hurt you, not just his own guilt. And here's crucial. He accepts consequences. He doesn't try to negotiate them away or minimize what happens next. If you need space, he gives it without guilt tripping. If you need to tell your family, he accepts it without trying to control the narrative. If you want to leave, he doesn't fight it with manipulation. He understands that he destroyed trust and you get to decide what happens next. When Maria discovered her husband's 6-month affair, his immediate response was exactly this. He said, I cheated on you. I lied to you every day for months. I betrayed your trust in the worst way possible, and I put our marriage and your health at risk. There is no excuse for what I did. Not work stress, not our arguments, nothing. I made these choices, and I'm responsible for the pain I've caused you. If you need me to leave, I'll leave. If you need space, I'll give you space. If you never forgive me, I understand. I destroyed what we had, and I have to live with that. That's accountability. No excuses, no blame. Just ownership of what he did and acceptance of whatever consequences follow. Compare that to the man who says, I'm sorry, but if you'd been meeting my needs, this wouldn't have happened. One is remorse. The other is manipulation. So listen carefully to his language. Does he use I statements that acknowledge his agency? Or does he use passive language that diffuses responsibility? Does his apology stand alone, or is it followed by but and justifications? Does he blame you in any way for his choice to betray you? Test his acceptance of consequences. Tell him what you need: space, time, transparency, separation, and watch if he accepts it fully or tries to negotiate and minimize. Genuine remorse means accepting that he destroyed trust and you get to decide what happens next. Damage control, sign 1. He minimizes, justifies, and makes excuses for his behavior. Now let's look at the opposite. A man who's just sorry he got caught will never take full accountability. He'll minimize what he did, justify it with circumstances, or find ways to make it partially your fault. His goal isn't genuine remorse. It's damage control to avoid losing you while avoiding real accountability. Listen for the minimization tactics. It didn't mean anything. It was just physical. It was only once. He's trying to make the betrayal seem smaller, less significant, more forgivable than it actually was. Whether it meant anything to him is completely irrelevant. It was a betrayal regardless of his feelings about the affair partner. Then there's the excuse arsenal. I was drunk. I was stressed. She came on to me. It just happened. These are explanations designed to remove his agency and make the betrayal seem accidental rather than the result of dozens of deliberate choices. Yes, he chose to drink. Yes, he chose to be in that environment. Yes, he made every choice along the way. One woman told me her ex said he cheated because he was drunk and the other woman was aggressive. But he chose to drink. He chose to be in that environment. He chose not to leave when things were heading towards infidelity. Circumstances might influence behavior, but they don't remove responsibility for choices made. Notice the defensive justification. When you express hurt, does he apologize or does he get defensive about why he did it? Does he need you to understand his reasons, to see it from his perspective, to accept the context? If explaining why he did it takes priority over acknowledging your pain, it's not remorse, it's self-protection. When Jessica discovered her boyfriend's affair, his response was completely different from genuine remorse. He said, "Okay, yes, I slept with her a few times, but you have to understand, we'd been fighting constantly, you were always working, I felt lonely, and she was just there being supportive. It didn't mean anything. I never loved her. You're acting like I had some big relationship with her when it was just sex a few times when I was feeling really low. If we'd been in a better place, this never would have happened. So yes, I'm sorry, but you have to take some responsibility for how bad things had gotten between us." That's not remorse. That's blame shifting wrapped in apology language. He minimized it, just sex a few times, excused it, I was lonely, and blamed her, if we'd been in a better place. Every part of that statement removes his accountability and transfers it to circumstances or to Jessica. So count the excuses. How many reasons does he give for why he did it? Genuine remorse doesn't need reasons because there are no good reasons for betrayal. Listen for but. I'm sorry, but means everything after the but is what he actually believes. Notice who's responsible in his narrative. If it's anyone other than fully him, it's not genuine accountability. And watch if you feel blamed. If you walk away from his apology feeling like you need to change your behavior or apologize to him, you've been manipulated. Genuine remorse makes you feel like he understands what he did. Damage control makes you feel like you caused what he did.
Genuine remorse sign 2. His focus is on your pain, not his discomfort. When someone is genuinely remorseful, their primary concern is the pain they've caused you, not the discomfort they're experiencing from being caught. He asks what you need. How are you feeling? How can he help you heal? He doesn't center himself in the aftermath or make the situation about his guilt, his shame, or how hard this is for him. Listen to his questions. How are you? What do you need? How can I help you through this? He's genuinely interested in your emotional state and what would help you feel safer. His questions are about you, not defensive questions about whether you'll forgive him or take him back. And here's critical. He doesn't make you comfort him. He's not crying to the point where you feel you need to comfort him about his guilt. He's not centering his shame, his pain, or how terrible he feels in ways that require you to manage his emotions. One woman told me, after I found out about his affair, he kept saying, I hate myself so much, and I don't know how to live with what I've done. I ended up comforting him about the affair he had. That's not remorse, that's manipulation. It's okay for him to feel bad. He should feel bad. but not okay for him to make you manage his feelings about hurting you. His guilt is something he needs to process with a therapist or friends, not with you, the person he traumatized. Watch if he gives you space to process. He doesn't pressure you for immediate forgiveness or decisions about the relationship. He respects that you need time to feel your feelings without him demanding reassurance. Genuine remorse means understanding that healing happens on your timeline, not his. Notice if he shows empathy for your specific pain. Can he articulate exactly how his actions hurt you? I know I made you question your judgment. I know I made you feel not good enough. I know I destroyed your sense of safety. Specific empathy shows he's actually considered the impact from your perspective, not just wallowing in his own guilt. And he never compares his pain to yours. He doesn't say, "This is hard for me too," or "I'm suffering too," when you express your pain. He understands his discomfort is the consequence of choices he made, not something you need to consider or accommodate. After discovering her husband's emotional affair, Nita's husband responded with genuine focus on her pain. He said, "I can't imagine how much pain I've caused you. I know you must be questioning everything. My love for you, your own judgment, whether anything I've said is real. I know I've destroyed your ability to trust me, and I know that's terrifying for you. I want you to know that whatever you need, space, time, answers, anything, I'll give you. This isn't about me or my guilt or my fear of losing you. This is about you and what you need to heal from what I did to you. I'm here when you're ready. And if you're never ready, I understand why." His focus was entirely on her pain, her needs, her healing, not his fear or guilt or desire for forgiveness. That's genuine remorse. So count the you versus I statements in his responses. Is he talking more about how you feel or how he feels? Watch who needs comforting. If you're managing his emotions about his betrayal, the dynamic is backwards. Notice his questions. Is he asking what you need or asking when you'll forgive him? Test his patience. Tell him you need time and space and see if he respects that or pushes for resolution that makes him feel better. Damage control sign 2. He makes the situation about his guilt and needs your reassurance. A man who's just sorry he got caught will center himself in the aftermath. He'll cry, express how terrible he feels, talk about his guilt and shame, all in ways that make you feel responsible for comforting him. He'll push for quick forgiveness because your ongoing pain makes him uncomfortable. Listen to the self-centered guilt display. "I hate myself. I don't know how I could do this. I'm a terrible person." He's wallowing in self-pity in a way that demands your emotional labor. This shifts focus from "he hurt you" to "he's suffering," and subtly makes you responsible for making him feel better about hurting you. Reassurance seeking. "Do you still love me? Are you going to leave me? Can you ever forgive me?" He's prioritizing getting answers that make him feel secure over giving you space to process your trauma. These questions are about his anxiety and need for reassurance, not your healing. One woman described how the day she found out her boyfriend cheated, he spent hours asking if she'd leave him, if she hated him, if she could see a future together. She ended up reassuring him while she was dying inside. His need for reassurance about the security of the relationship took priority over her need to process the trauma of betrayal. Then there's the immediate forgiveness pressure. He wants you to forgive him quickly so he can stop feeling guilty and you both can move on. "I said I'm sorry. What more do you want?" Or, "How long are you going to punish me?" Quick forgiveness serves him by ending his discomfort, not you by supporting your healing. Notice the victim's flip. He positions himself as suffering equally. "This is killing me too. I'm devastated by what I've done." He compares his guilt to your betrayal trauma as if they're equivalent. They're not. Your pain is real trauma from his betrayal. His guilt is self-inflicted consequence. If he's suggesting you're both victims of what he did, He's avoiding full accountability. And watch for impatience with your process. He gets frustrated when you can't get over it or move past it on his timeline. He's annoyed by your questions, your pain, your need to process and reprocess. If he's treating your healing process as an inconvenience to him, it's about his comfort, not your well-being. When Alicia discovered her boyfriend's affair, he spent the entire first week crying, saying he hated himself, asking repeatedly if she'd ever forgive him, expressing how guilty he felt. Alicia found herself comforting him while she was falling apart inside. After 2 weeks, he asked, "How much longer are you going to be upset about this? I've apologized 100 times. At some point, you need to decide if you're going to forgive me or not because I can't keep living in this limbo." His discomfort with her ongoing pain mattered more to him than her actual healing.
So track who's being comforted. If you're managing his guilt about betraying you, the dynamic is manipulative. Count how often he asks about his future security versus your current emotional state. Notice timeline pressure. Is he giving you space to heal or pushing for you to make decisions and forgive quickly? Watch for frustration. If he seems annoyed by your ongoing pain or questions, he's more concerned with his comfort than your healing. Before we get to sign number 3, if you're recognizing these patterns and realizing you need clarity about whether his remorse is real or just damage control, hit that subscribe button. We break down relationship psychology so you can see clearly and make informed decisions about who deserves your trust. All right, let's keep going. Genuine remorse, sign 3. He offers complete transparency without being asked. A genuinely remorseful man understands he destroyed trust and immediately takes action to rebuild it without you having to demand it. He volunteers phone access, passwords, whereabouts, and information. He proactively eliminates anything that contributed to the betrayal. He knows he has no right to privacy while he's rebuilding trust, and he accepts that willingly, because your ability to feel safe matters more than his comfort. Watch for immediate, voluntary openness. He hands you his phone without being asked, gives you all passwords, volunteers location access. He doesn't wait for you to demand transparency. He offers it immediately because he understands trust is destroyed, and this is how rebuilding starts. This isn't about him not deserving privacy in general. It's about him recognizing he forfeited privacy privileges when he chose to betray you. While trust is being rebuilt, he accepts that everything needs to be visible. He answers all your questions fully. No matter how painful or uncomfortable, he answers every question you have about the betrayal. He doesn't get irritated when you ask the same question multiple times. He doesn't say, "I already told you that." He doesn't refuse to discuss details because they're in the past. He understands you need information to process what happened, and he owes you complete truth. One woman said she had hundreds of questions, timeline, details, how it started, what he said about her to the other woman. He answered every single one, even when it was clearly uncomfortable for him. He never once told her she was torturing him with questions or that she needed to stop dwelling on it. Watch what happens with the affair partner. Does he cut her off completely? Immediately? Permanently? No farewell conversation. No closure meeting. No letting her down easy. Complete cutoff. He blocks her everywhere, tells you exactly how he ended it, and shows you the messages if necessary. If he needs to explain things to her, or end it properly, or give her closure, he's prioritizing her feelings over your healing. Genuine remorse means the affair partner is cut off brutally and completely without hesitation. Notice if he makes changes without being told. Does he quit the job where he met her?
end the friendship that facilitated it? Stop going to the place where they used to meet? Whatever contributed to the betrayal, he eliminates it proactively. He doesn't wait for you to demand changes or negotiate what he needs to do differently. And he maintains transparency long-term. This isn't a temporary show for a few weeks. He maintains openness for as long as it takes you to rebuild trust, which might be months or years. He doesn't get tired of being monitored or complain that you're checking up on him. If he starts pushing back against transparency before you feel safe, he was never genuinely committed to rebuilding trust. After Mark's affair was discovered, his first action was handing his wife his phone with all passwords. He said, "I know I've destroyed your trust. You have full access to everything. Phone, email, social media, location, whatever you need for as long as you need it. I've blocked her on everything and deleted all the apps we used to communicate. I've told my boss I can't work on projects with her anymore. I know these are consequences of my choices, and I accept them fully. If you need me to quit this job entirely, I will. Whatever you need to feel safe, I'll do it." He didn't wait for her to demand these things. He did them immediately because he understood what rebuilding trust requires. So watch timing. Does he offer transparency before you demand it, or only after you've caught him in more lies? Test completeness. Is he transparent about everything, or only what he thinks you know about? Notice consistency. Does transparency continue for months, or does he start resisting it after a few weeks? Observe proactivity. Is he thinking ahead about what needs to change, or waiting for you to tell him what to do? Damage control, sign 3. He guards his privacy and resists accountability measures. A man who's just sorry he got caught will resist transparency at every turn. He'll claim you're being controlling, invading his privacy, or not trusting him. He'll give limited access, delete things before showing you, or get angry when you want to verify his whereabouts. Listen for the privacy defense. You're invading my privacy. You need to trust me. I have a right to privacy. He frames reasonable accountability measures as you being controlling or paranoid. But here's the thing. He destroyed privacy privileges when he chose to betray you. He doesn't get to claim privacy rights while rebuilding trust. If he's more concerned with his privacy than your ability to feel safe, he's not genuinely remorseful. He's trying to maintain control. Watch for limited, controlled access. He'll let you look at his phone, but only specific things, or only while he's present. He deletes conversations before showing you. He has secret apps or accounts you don't know about. True transparency means you can look at anything, anytime, without advanced warning. Controlled access means he's still hiding things. One woman described how her boyfriend would hand her his phone to look through, but she'd notice messages were deleted or certain apps were missing from his home screen. Later, she found out he had backup accounts and apps hidden in folders she didn't know about. He was creating the appearance of transparency while maintaining hidden channels. Listen for the "you're not letting me move on" complaint. He gets frustrated that you still want to check his phone or know where he is. How long is this going to go on? When are you going to start trusting me again? This feels like punishment. Your need to verify isn't punishment. It's a natural response to betrayal, and he should expect it to last as long as it takes for you to feel safe again. Watch the affair partner cut off carefully. Does he maintain contact under some justification? I have to work with her. I can't just cut her off. We have mutual friends. It would be weird to block her. I need to explain things to her so she understands. Any continued contact with the affair partner reveals he's prioritizing something, her feelings, his guilt, future options, over your healing. If she's not completely, immediately, and permanently cut off, he's keeping a door open, period. And notice anger at accountability. Does he get defensive or angry when you ask questions or want to verify information? Does he frame your reasonable need for information as you punishing him or not giving him a chance? If asking where he is or who he's with makes him angry, he's resisting accountability, not accepting it. When Denise asked her boyfriend for his phone password after discovering his affair, he said, "I'm not going to live under surveillance. You need to decide if you're going to trust me or not, but I'm not giving up my privacy just because you're insecure. That's not how healthy relationships work. I said I'm sorry and I'm not doing it anymore. That should be enough." When she pushed back, he got angry. "If you can't trust me, then maybe we shouldn't be together. I'm not going to be monitored like a child." His resistance to transparency showed he wanted her forgiveness without actual accountability. She later discovered he'd never ended the affair, just gotten better at hiding it.
So listen for defensive language about privacy, control, or surveillance. Watch for conditional access, where he controls when and how you can verify. Notice timeline resistance. Does he start pushing back against transparency before you're ready? Test the affair partner cutoff. Is she completely gone, or are there excuses for why some contact remains? Genuine remorse sign 4. He does the work to understand why he did it and changes the underlying issues. A genuinely remorseful man doesn't just apologize and promise never to do it again. He actively works to understand the character flaws, patterns, or issues that allowed him to betray you in the first place. He goes to therapy. He does the reading. He has hard conversations with himself about who he is and what he needs to change. He's not just sorry for the betrayal. He's committed to becoming someone incapable of that betrayal again. Watch if he seeks professional help without being told. He finds a therapist, attends individual counseling, or suggests couples counseling. He doesn't wait for you to demand it. He recognizes he needs help, understanding himself. Therapy signals he understands this isn't just about apologizing, but about fundamental change. He examines his character honestly. He's willing to have uncomfortable realizations about himself, his selfishness, his entitlement, his lack of empathy. He doesn't defend his character when the truth is ugly. One woman's husband had to confront in therapy that he felt entitled to attention from other women and that he'd prioritized his ego over his wife's well-being. It was painful for him to admit, but he did the work because he was genuinely committed to change. Notice if you can see observable behavioral changes. You can actually see the changes in daily life. He communicates better, sets boundaries with others, manages stress differently. He doesn't just talk about changing, he actually does it. Real change shows up in behavior, not just in promises during emotional conversations. Watch if he reads, researches, educates himself. Does he read books on infidelity recovery? Watch videos, listen to podcasts? He's actively trying to understand betrayal and how to repair it. He shares what he's learning with you and applies insights to your situation. He can articulate what he's learned about himself and about repairing trust. And he's patient with the process. He understands that changing deep-seated patterns takes time, and he commits to the work long-term. He doesn't quit therapy after a few sessions or stop working on himself once things calm down. Is he still doing the work 6 months later? A year later? Or did the effort stop once you forgave him? After David's affair, he immediately scheduled therapy appointments without Rachel asking him to. He told her, "I need to understand what's broken in me that I could do this to you. This isn't about stress or circumstances. Something in my character allowed me to make these choices, and I need professional help to fix it." Over the next year, Rachel watched him do real work. He read multiple books on emotional maturity and healthy relationships. He went to therapy weekly and shared insights with her. He identified patterns from his childhood about seeking validation from women and worked to change them. Most importantly, Rachel could see changes in daily life. How he communicated, how he handled stress, how he set boundaries. The work was real and sustained. So watch for proactive help seeking. Does he schedule therapy himself, or only go if you threaten to leave? Listen to his insights. Can he articulate what he's learned about himself, or is therapy just something he's doing to check a box? Observe behavioral change. Are there actual, observable changes in how he operates daily? Test sustainability. Is he still doing the work 6 months later, or did the effort stop once the immediate crisis passed? Damage control sign 4. He makes surface-level promises with no real change. A man who's just sorry he got caught will say everything you want to hear. I'll never do it again. I'll be better. I'll change. But his promises are empty because he's not doing the actual work required for real change. He might go to therapy a few times to appease you, but he doesn't engage deeply. Listen to the grand promises. I swear I'll never do it again. I'll be the man you deserve. Everything will be different. These are emotional promises made in crisis that aren't backed by specific action plans. Promises feel good in the moment, but they mean nothing without consistent behavior change backing them up. Watch for reluctant minimal therapy. He only goes because you demanded it. He attends a few sessions, then claims he's dealt with it or learned what he needed. One woman's boyfriend went to 3 therapy sessions, then said, "The therapist says I just made a mistake and I need to move on. She thinks you're being too hard on me." When the woman called the therapist later, she learned he'd barely engaged and quit after 3 weeks. Listen for the "I'm just like this" defense. When you point out problematic patterns, he says, "That's just how I am," or "I can't change my personality." He's unwilling to examine character flaws or take responsibility for who he is. This is an excuse that protects him from having to do uncomfortable self-examination. Genuinely remorseful people believe they can and must change. Damage control says, "Accept me as I am." Notice if there are no observable changes. Months pass and his daily behavior is the same. Same communication patterns, same boundary issues, same problems. He talks about changing, but nothing actually changes. If you can't point to specific, observable differences in how he operates after several months, he's not changing. Words without action is the clearest sign he's not doing genuine work. And watch for the premature "I'm fixed" declaration. After a few weeks or months, he declares he's worked on himself and you should move on. He stops whatever minimal effort he was making once the immediate crisis passed. Real change takes 6 to 12 months minimum. If he claims to be fixed in weeks, he never really started the work. When Melissa discovered her boyfriend's affair, he promised her everything. "I'll never look at another woman. I'll be the partner you deserve. I'll do whatever it takes." She asked him to go to therapy. He went twice, then said he'd figured out what went wrong and didn't need more sessions. When she asked what he learned, he said, "I learned I need to appreciate you more." That's not insight. That's a platitude. Months went by and nothing about his actual behavior changed. He still had poor boundaries with women. He still sought validation through attention from others. He still communicated poorly. The promises had been empty, just words to get her to stay without any commitment to the hard work of actual change. So count actions versus words. How many specific actions has he taken beyond promises? Watch therapy engagement. Is he going voluntarily and engaging deeply, or reluctantly attending minimal sessions? Test for specifics. When he talks about change, can he be specific about what he's changing and how? Track timeline. Is he still working on himself months later, or did the effort stop once the immediate crisis passed? If you're realizing that what you're seeing is damage control rather than genuine remorse, and you're wondering if you're actually being used in this relationship, make sure you watch our next video on the 5 signs he's using you and you're ignoring them. It might give you even more clarity about what's really happening here. Links in the description. But first, let's cover the final sign.